Welcome to the Friction to Freedom podcast, where the mission is to help you tap into the best and highest expression of yourself. My name is Janet D. Thomas, and I'm so excited that you're with me today. Very, very excited to begin this journey. I've been obsessed with self-healing since I was a little girl, absolutely obsessed. And I had tremendous friction in my own life, tremendous friction inside of myself that then translated into my world. And I needed to get through that. And I spent so much time focusing on that. All I want to do is shortcut this process um, with you to provide information that may be helpful. And the information that I'm going to provide has to do with both neuroscience and self discovery tools, the things that I used to move from friction to freedom. So, the way this is going to work is every episode, I'm going to pose a question to you. And then I'm going to provide a little bit of my own lived experience about it, and then give you 3 points or so to consider while you're considering this question. So the first one we're going to do actually in the next episode is the question is going to be, why am I so anxious? Why am I full of anxiety so much? That's going to be the question. And then I want to share some information with you, cut to the chase, to give you information that hopefully will assist you in tapping into the best expression of yourself. So, look, the whole focus of this and all of the work that I do, by the way, has to do with one phrase. And this phrase is internal shifts lead to external success. I'm going to say that one more time. Internal shifts lead to external success. But I want to qualify that. I really want to say that internal shifts can lead to external success because the internal shifts that we make are very personal, I think, to each of us. So this is just going to be information that you can use or not in your own journey to live the life that you want to live with the highest expression of yourself. So internal shifts can lead to external success. And I just think that it's been backwards. We've been doing it backwards. Gee, if I am successful externally, if I am successful, whatever that means for us, if I'm successful, I'm going to feel better about myself. If I am successful, or when I am successful, whatever that may be, I'm going to feel better about myself. I have discovered that it's actually the other way around. When I feel better about myself, when I have some really wonderful self friendship going, that's when it can translate into external success. So we're looking at things from the inside out here with tools and techniques and self-discovery items that hopefully you'll be able to use. A little bit about me is I've been obsessed with healing since I was a little girl. Literally, by the time I was 7 or 8 years old, 7 or 8 years old, I was already on this quest. Because when I started, when I was about 5 years old, that's when I started to have what I would call non-preferred experiences. I define non-preferred experiences as those experiences that compromise our mental, physical, emotional, or spiritual well-being. Anything that compromises those balancing things, anything that compromises that, I would consider non-preferred. I mean, obviously we want things that are preferred in our life, but we do have, or we can have, I know I have, had some non-preferred experiences that compromised my own well-being in ways that became really, really impactful in my life. I thought as a result of these experiences that I was no good, period. That was the only thing that made sense to me, that I was no good. And I wasn't talking. I wasn't telling what was going on. I kept secrets. So with these secrets, I just knew that I was wrong. And I spent so much time trying to fix myself on the outside to look good, to hopefully translate onto the inside to make me feel better about myself. And none of that worked. So I did the opposite approach. This journey was and is, continues to be amazing. Hard as hell, I'm telling you right now, because it takes courage to look within with all of our distractions and all that right now in life. It takes a lot of courage to turn stuff off and like listen and get to know yourself. Really can be very challenging. I have found that the way out is in. That's a quote by Robert Frost. The way out is in. And I want to be an advocate for you when it comes to this inner work. So there was a real famous, amazing martial artist, actor, etc., phenomenal master, Bruce Lee. I'm going to mess up the quote right now, but he basically said one time, he said, I fear not the man who has done 10,000 kicks one time, but I do fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Kind of cool, right? Well, maybe not to you, but I think it's kind of cool. Anyway, let me say it again. Bruce Lee said, I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks one time. I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. So the reason why I'm sharing that is to basically say this. Of all the tools and techniques that you may have already tried, that you may have already been privy to, I'm going to add some tools and techniques in this podcast. But I will say that you can pick one thing that either you hear here or that you've heard before that really resonates with you, that makes sense. All it takes is one. It takes focus on one thing to the best of your ability, and that can help guide you from the friction to the freedom. From friction to freedom. Last thought just came to me. I had a really, really simple mandate growing up, like something. I've always been very curious. I ask so many questions. I read a lot of stuff. But here was my question when I was little. There was something where I came to understand to love thy neighbor as thyself. This is not at all a religious podcast. I will share my lived experience with certain things, but we are not going to talk religion or politics, none of that stuff. However, for me, I wanted to love my neighbor. I did. And it said, love thy neighbor as thyself. And I didn't love myself. I didn't even like myself at all. So how could I love my neighbor if I didn't love myself? And that became my quest. I wanted to reconnect with my undamaged self so that I can love my neighbor. And that one premise, that one thing that I have practiced 10,000 times, 100,000 times on this quest and this journey is something that helped me move from friction to freedom. So that's kind of the introduction on this thing. I'm very excited that you've joined me. Again, next time, why am I so anxious? Why am I walking around with such anxiety? I look forward to sharing that information with you. So if you have any questions or comments or just want to share something, absolutely feel free to leave a comment. You can also reach me at janetdthomas.com. Thank you so much for joining me today.